Hi, everyone. Welcome to this new podcast called The Podcast Without Agenda. I'm Ivan Sánchez, and
And I'm Rafael Sanchez.
our special guest for today is Salomon Zertuche.
Hello.
Um, in this new podcast, we will be talking about events that have happened in the past 2 weeks, and we will be giving our opinions and our views about it. So our first topic is
We want to talk about Notre Dame de Paris, and we want to know what happened, what how it happened, and just discuss a little bit about it.
okay.
So,
Look,
Ivan, what do you think? What's in
I'm
your
just
mind?
gonna introduce the topic. If you didn't know, Notre Dame de Paris is the cathedral of Paris, and it burned down like 2 weeks ago, and it didn't burn down to the ground. It was just like the central spire of it was burning down, and it fell down, and now there's a big hole in the ceiling. And the president of France introduced a plan, and he said that it will take supposedly 5 years to reconstruct the new cathedral, and many people are donating to help reconstruct it.
Do you know how much are they donating?
From what I heard, like 200 million euros or something.
And there are others that are saying about 300 million euros, which is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
So the reconstruction, it's actually happening. Like it's
Not right now, but it will happen definitely. It's a plan.
That's weird.
Now, do you think it's worth it? I mean, okay, to start with, when was it built first?
It was built like in the 11th century or like the 1100s.
No, 11th century.
11th century. And, well, it's very old. It has been like added on for many years, and it was not very stable, and it was like at some point it was gonna fall down, and so I think it was like inevitable, and things will happen the same. People will donate to reconstruct it. It will take a long time, a lot of money, and I think it's like I think people are too focused that Notre Dame burned down. It's not gonna be the same again. Like, I know it's not gonna be the same bricks from the 11th century, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, what it represents to the people, I think. And I was very surprised to hear and to see all the people's reactions right after it happened. And I don't know. I have questions, like why is it so important, and why, when there are other disasters around the world, how come people don't react the same way? Like there are kids dying of hunger in Africa. So why aren't we reacting to that the same way people are reacting to Notre Dame? What do you think, Ivan?
Well, I think that it's because it's more famous, and it's more like, Paris, it's more important for like modern culture, is more like a hub, like tourism.
What place is France in the world in tourism? Like as a tourist place, what number is it on the visited chart?
Well, it's the country with the most people visited France than any other country in the world.
So it is extremely important for the whole world, because it's
It's a,
People want to go to Paris.
and they're like, and for like for your example, the kids dying in Africa, like many people just don't know and are like kind of who cares about it, but Notre Dame, since they know about it and it's been a part of more famous history for a long time, it's just like just more people from the modern world know about it. What do you think, Salomon?
Well, I think that these kind of things used to happen all the time. Like there are more important things in the world happening, and we as human beings used to focus on things that are not that important. I don't know. I was worried about the cathedral anyway. And I was trying to figure out like what was happening, why it burns.
I think that's a good point because, like, what do the media say about what happened? Do you know, Ivan? I think
From what I've seen, I think the media says that it was an electrical issue during the like renovation or something, and that caused the fire.
and they just found like a few days ago, like cigarette butts from the workers, but they say it's not too relevant, but still that's probably something that people need to take into account. I don't know, but I think that this like gives us maybe just a chance to talk about it. Maybe I had the chance to go there in 2000, and I love Paris. It's like a really nice place to be because it's, people talk about it, one of those iconic cities in the world. And I think people should have the opportunity or the chance to go visit. Maybe you guys could go someday. We have to plan a trip to
It's
Paris.
sad. It's a sad thing, as many other things that happen or are happening around the world. We should be worried about each one. Doesn't matter if it's a cathedral or kids or like animals dying, things that are sad, and we should worry about them. If we can do anything to change or to do things better, we should worry about it.
I think this shows also that we are, very compassionate world. Like I like the fact that people worried about it and were concerned about what happened to the cathedral. So many people showed concern. I like
And I
that.
think this is also like a sign. This is also a sign that we're moving on, because like we kind of want to stay in this world where there are cities like Paris with all of the buildings that are like like 18th century, 19th century buildings, like all of those like old. We want to be like stuck in the past or just like be in the present with our technologies and not like go to we're afraid to move on from what we have.
Okay, well, talking about, like just a little transition between like a cathedral, thinking of concerts and places where people have performed. I would love to perform someday at Notre Dame. But our friend Salomon has just performed his big orchestra concert in Chiapas just last month. So, I mean, this month, it was April 5th. What do you think, Ivan, we should ask him and ask him what happened and how did he get to perform with the Chiapas orchestra?
So, like, first, like, he needs to tell us, like, just, like, introduce us to, like, the situation and why he got picked and why he was doing it first, like, to explain the background. So,
Okay, like a little background. I think it could be this concert was actually it was a prize from a contest. It was an intern contest. Yeah, it was me and two more students from the university who were singing that night.
But you won like the first prize for what?
Yeah, I won the first place and premio del público also.
The prize of the public, of the audience.
And
which was very overwhelming because I was at that concert. I was at the contest at the school when it happened. This was last year was it April or May?
June. It was June.
Was it in June? Okay. So when they were giving out the ballots for people to vote for who was the winner or like the who they wrote on their ballots, it was pretty clear and it was amazing when people just roared and when Salomon's name was called. So that was really pretty neat, overwhelming, I repeat, because like everybody liked his singing. So I was pleased that he won that prize, and the first place for the best opera aria.
No, it was just first place in the category. I think I'm gonna switch to Spanish. Teníamos 3 categorías porque eran los concursantes de licenciatura, los de propedéutico y los de propedéutico menos avanzados. Y cada categoría tenía sus premiaciones de primero, segundo y tercer lugar. Aparte, habían los premios especiales. Este concurso no tuvo la premiación de mejor área de ópera, pero sí tuve la fortuna de ganar el primer lugar en mi categoría, que es la más avanzada de licenciatura. Y como dices, el premio del público fue el que más me sorprendió. No me esperaba ese premio. De hecho, no lo recordaba ni siquiera. Yo no sabía en ese momento, yo no me acordaba que había un premio al público. Cuando lo anunciaron y dijeron mi nombre, dije, wow. No me lo esperaba. Pero bueno, el concierto de esa noche fue resultado de este concurso en el que participaron también compañeros míos de la carrera, Carlos Urbieta y Shunashi Núñez. Cantaron también conmigo 3 áreas más, cada quien. Y fue una experiencia muy gratificante.
What did you sing? What did you perform with the orchestra?
Canté un área de Fígaro, de la ópera Las bodas de Fígaro de Mozart. Se llama Aprite un poco gli occhi. Es un área donde Fígaro está enojado con las mujeres en general y está enojado con Susana porque piensa que lo está traicionando y suelta un discurso sobre las mujeres y lo ingratas que son y lo malas que son y le dice a los hombres y regaña a los hombres y les advierte de cómo son las mujeres, pero es muy chistosa el área porque está haciendo el speech como hacia los hombres, pero lo está diciendo por sí mismo, no se lo está diciendo a nadie más, está enojado con él por ser hombre y por por sentirse engañado por una mujer. Está muy chistosa el área. Canté una canción de Leporello, es el sirviente de Don Giovanni, es de la ópera de Don Giovanni, también de Mozart. Y esa aria pues es muy icónica de ese personaje. Recapitula enlista todas las mujeres con las que ha estado Don Giovanni. Básicamente es eso. El aria de Leporello. Y la última presentación que tuve fue de la canción del toreador de Carmen. ¿Las conoces, Iván? ¿Tú conoces estas arias? ¿Las ubicas más o menos?
Sí, más o menos, sí. Bueno, ¿y tú cómo te sentiste cuando estabas cantando las arias?
Me llamó la atención que no me sentí tan nervioso como pensé que me iba a sentir. Antes del concierto, semanas antes del concierto, yo ya me había hecho la idea de que iba a sentir como mucho nervio, que se me iba a revolver el estómago, que me iban a picar los pies, que me iban a temblar las piernas y como que me quise preparar para esa sensación y nunca llegó, esa sensación nunca llegó tan fuerte como me la imaginé. A lo mejor yo me la imaginé de más, pero no, más bien me dio un poco de miedo cantar la última, eso sí sentí miedo de cantar la última canción y echarla a perder, pero salió bien, gracias a Dios salió muy bien.
Entonces, bueno, espera.
Si quieren escucharlas, pueden visitar mi canal, Salomon Zertuche, en Instagram, Salomon Zertuche, en Facebook, Salomon Zertuche, en YouTube, Salomon Zertuche.
Eso iba a decir yo, que puedes verlo en YouTube, en las redes sociales. Tiene más de 1000 vistas y pues...
And just one question for our English listeners. How was it to work with the orchestra? Was it easy? Was it hard? What was the challenge?
It was hard. The challenge was actually that it was my first time singing alone with the orchestra. Mm-hmm. That was the.
But I mean, like, what can you recommend to other people? You know, like first time singers with orchestra. What should they worry about? What should they know before they rehearse with the orchestra? What's the amount of preparation they need to be in?
I would say they need to prepare, obviously, with their language, with their music, and
they really need to know the music, right?
Of course, that's the first thing. And second thing, I think the other preparation that I think that they should be they need to be ready for working with the conductor. Mm-hmm. Like when you rehearse by yourself, you have your own tempo, you have your own.
Did you have time to sit down with the conductor to work on the tempo and the markings?
Not that much of time.
Do you wish you would have had the time?
I wish we could have more time with that.
Yeah, I think that's important.
But Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Your music, be really prepared with your music, and go with the best attitude. Like, you cannot wait for it to be perfect and wonderful from the first time. You need to be ready for the worst, for the best, for everything, with the conductor, with your partners, with the other singers. It's a teamwork, actually. You cannot go to a rehearsal like that thinking that they are all working for you, or you are one more instrument there. No, it's really a teamwork.
Well, we congratulate you, Salomon, because I think you are a good representation of our city in Cancun, Mexico, and we wish you the best. Yeah.
Talking about music.
Music.
I got into a debate with someone online about like whether it's do re mi or ABC, like how to put the notes. And
The music writing, right?
Yeah, the music writing.
Like, which is better?
Or music notation.
Mm-hmm. Like, which one should be used? And it all started because in a video about like piano, like stairs, someone
It's an app.
Huh?
It's an app.
No, in real life they put piano stairs.
Okay.
And someone played like a song, and in one of the comments says like, yes, that song, and then one person says the notes are mi, si, do, re, mi, do, and
he just wrote the names of the notes, like do, re, mi, fa, sol.
And then this guy says, who rewrites the note says that it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and sharps and flats. And I said, it's like that in almost every other place in the world. And then he said, every other place in the world? No, it's not. Good pianists never use do, re, mi, fa, sol. And not just pianists, every single musician refers to notes as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and sharps and flats. If a person uses do, re, mi, fa, sol, they are probably a beginner who has barely any knowledge and has yet to learn the name of notes.
Who is he?
What do you think? I don't know. I think that's probably a debate. I think we need to know where people use ABC and where people use do, re, mi. So, like, for example, in Mexico, what do people use? Salomon is studying his bachelor's of music, so let's ask him what they use in
Most of the
class.
time we use do, re, mi. Which is the name?
Do, re, mi.
It's
the solfege, like solfeggio.
Solfeggio form. Most of the time.
Have you ever
But
used
of course we need
ABC?
to understand. Yeah, we understand, and we use it sometimes,
So
like
we
not
use
that
both
frequently,
of
but
them, right? Like,
yeah,
You use both of them, but most frequently do, re, mi.
do,
yes,
re, mi.
because when you are in your solfege class, in your solfeggio, you have to solfege the notes, the names of the notes, right? Now we need to know what is the background of the ABC. Where did it come from? I think most Americans use ABC in their music notation. They don't usually use the solfege as do, re, mi. They use ABC, D, E, F, G, and that's it. And so I think the debate must have come because that guy was an American.
Yeah, and that's why I said it's like that in almost every other place in the world. That's not like the United States.
That's your answer?
My first answer that started 4 days ago. And
Ivan, you got into a debate worldwide.
not debate. I
Just a comment.
That's the only comment I put, and then another person like started.
Okay.
And then another person said, in France it's do re mi fa sol and la si, and not just for beginners. And another person said, calm down, mate. It's just like difference between American and British English. Different words, same meanings. I don't really think it shows the level of pianist slash musician. And he replies, yes, it does. Nearly every single musician in the world uses A, B, C, D, E, F, G to read sheet music and play it.
Well, I think, as a musician, I think we need to tell our audience what's our involvement.
Like there are moments.
Like Ivan, it's a piano player. How can you tell the people how old you are, Ivan, and what year in school you are? Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm 11 years old and I'm in 5th grade. And I play the piano.
So you would know. Now, like when you play the piano, you think of the notes as do, re, mi, right?
I don't even know what's A, what's B. I only know C. That's the only one I know. I know C, do.
Yeah. So the thing is, like when you start learning music theory, because playing the piano is one thing and having the skill of playing the piano, but when you start learning music theory and start with your composition class, you will be introduced to the notation of A, B, C. So A is for La, B is for C. So it's like just a correlation. I think we all need to learn both of them. And so I know for a fact that most Americans would know to say the notes with the English, the A, B, C. So it's probably easier for them, but I learned in Mexico we use the solfege, which is the European style, and I know most Europe uses do, re, mi. And so I'm a musician. I have a bachelor's in music and I have a master's degree in conducting, so I have used that all my life, so I know both of them. And it's just interesting when people get into debates, and I don't know it, but I could see why people would prefer one or the other. I think it would depend. So probably for jazz players, jazz originated in the United States, so they would probably use ABC.
I think it is definitely it is more simple, the ABC.
Yeah, writing. Because you just use one letter.
It's just one letter, and
but
it's
like once you get used to one.
But then when you're playing, for example, when you're playing the piano or you're playing your instrument, you're not thinking, you're thinking of the note, and the note is, you could think both of them. You could think of a B, which you could also think of C. So it doesn't matter. It's just a way or a mean to learn the music. So I think we shouldn't get into that big time debate about it. So it's just interesting that we could write it as a topic as do, re, mi versus ABC, but it is actually like people would fight for one or the other. So
people don't fight. People just listen to music and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like this person, I feel like more times like the Americans are like this. I'm not meaning to offend any Americans.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like most Americans are like live in this bubble where it's like their way is like the correct way, and like any other is like it's only like their rules apply. And it's just like the kind of person, like just the kind of reaction, he doesn't even like accept that like A B like do, re, mi. He doesn't even accept it, and like the same guy said, well, the other guy that got into more argument with him, it says, how does it show the level? Saying truck isn't better than saying lorry, just because more people use it. He said, what? It does show the level skills. It shows different levels in music theory. For example, if a student is struggling with basic A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the teacher sometimes could change it to more known, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, when they are comfortable. They can learn A, B, C, D, E, F, G again. Then no one uses do, re, mi, fa, sol anymore after that. And he says, if a teacher uses do, re, mi, fa, sol for a student, which they shouldn't, it is very likely the student is not very smart or the teacher is a fake music teacher. It's very, like Donald Trump, it's fake news. Fake news.
Well, that's strong to say,
It's very rare to see music teachers teaching their students do, re, mi, fa, sol, and unnecessary, I don't know.
I think this guy is angry with do, re, mi, fa, sol.
Yeah, he probably doesn't know how to do do, re, mi, fa, sol. You know what? I have a story. When I was in the States and I wanted to get into music school, I needed to audition for some classes at the University of Washington, the UW, in Seattle. I called the professor. It was, of course, summertime. He was on vacation. And I would leave messages every day. One day, he calls back, and he interviews me on the phone. And I say, well, I want to take 2 of your courses, one conducting class, and the other one was to be in the chorus. He asked me. His name was, or is, I don't know if he's still alive. I'm assuming he's not because he was pretty old back then. His name was Abraham Kaplan, just a great conductor in the States. He was Jew. He was Jewish, and he asked me, "Do you use solfege?" I'm like, "Excuse me?" Yes. How do you read music? Do you use ABC or do you use or do you use the European style? And I'm like, I was thinking, well, I don't know. In Mexico, in Mexico, I learned do re mi, and he says, well, just sing for me re mayor, and I'm like, okay. So I just go la re la fa re mi fa sol la si do re do si la sol fa mi re. And he's like, okay, you're accepted into the class. So I think he just brought, he heard the standard because I was able to solfege and the European style, which he was asking for. And I think that's the one we use in Mexico. So when we read music in Mexico, we use the notes. And I know that in Europe, they do the same thing. So I don't know if we're gonna talk about standards. I think that's a pretty high standard, to know to read music with not ABC, but with do re mi. But on the other hand, we all need to understand to read the music with the letters. Just ABC, which makes it easier sometimes for as a music theory class, just for the notation of music. And I think it's important, both of them. So I wouldn't get into a debate saying which one is better, which one is the best, but I think we can use both of them, and they are both pretty useful in music, extremely useful in music. So
this, let's just to finish off this one. We're not finishing the podcast. Just let's say pros and cons for each one.
Okay.
Pros for ABC is shorter. It's just shorter. Do you know any pros as well to ABC?
For ABC, it's easier probably to learn one letter.
To write.
Yeah, you don't need a pentagram. You don't need the music lines, the sheet music. Yeah. And for do re mi.
Cons for ABC.
Cons for ABC?
I think it's that do is more like the middle point, and A, it like the
Yeah.
series doesn't start because, like, though you could say that it's just like it's a starting point for do re mi.
Yeah, why didn't it start with do being A?
Or just no,
There
like
was a reason. Someone once told me which is
What's the reason?
what's the reason, but I just forget.
but it's like you could say that. Well, why is it just do? Because it's like the starting point for do re mi. Why couldn't you say that do like A, just like A is the starting point? Well, because do in the note, it doesn't have any sharps and flats. And it's
like C major or
like
do major, right?
It's just like it's the basic one. It's not like A doesn't have like something like do has, like, which is like special. It's the only one that doesn't have sharps and flats. So yeah, so pro cons for do re mi.
Pros?
Cons.
Mm.
Well, obviously it's longer. It's longer to put down on paper. And also pros. Which one is more widely used, do re mi or ABC?
What do you mean?
Which one do you think is more widely used?
Well, if we take into account that the American system created ABC, I think I would say that do re mi is more worldwide used, I think.
Okay, so another pro for do re mi.
Mm-hmm.
But another one is that it starts off in do, just like it starts off there.
So,
And I think it gives you more information. I mean, it is more longer. It is a longer writing.
like 2 letters instead of 1.
2 letters, but in case you have pentagram, I don't know. It gives you more information than just a letter.
Because you can get confused between which one is A or which one is B. Like A and B are more easily confused than La and C. Because it's like La is La and C is C. Like they're more identifiable by their names. Their names are more like, how will you know just like no, sol? Like, and if you say G, you're gonna be like, it's like you could get confused because it's like an order, and do re mi fa sol doesn't have anything to do with the last one. It's just do re mi fa sol. They each have their own special names. Okay, I think this is enough for
this one.
topic.
Well, I think still it is not it should not be a debate, because once the brain is just great or amazing, because once you learn it, it just doesn't leave your brain. Like I can see now, like I can see a B in music and I know that it's C major, right? And I can write an F sharp. For me, it means fa major. So I think it's just a matter of learning another ability to learn music and to do music. So I think both of them are important.
The next one, like, we don't have a good transition for this. The next one, so we were watching on Netflix, the most reliable site on the earth. Well, now we are watching 2 like mini series that are about the earth. One is more like about explaining how it works and just like showing it, and the other one is like how we have affected it, or how like one has astronauts that they have introduced.
And what is the name of that program?
Well, the one with astronauts is
One Strange Rock, and it's hosted by Smith.
Mm-hmm. And the other one that's more like just showing Earth, it's Our Planet, I think it's called.
Very good, very good series.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if you have Netflix, you should go and watch it.
Yeah.
I played Netflix, those series. Actually, the one Strange Rock to my students this last quarter, because I was teaching a class on sociological formation, like an ethics class.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the units was sustainability. And I don't know, I just wanted them to know a little bit more about our Earth, about our world. And I wanted them to be conscientious about it. Conscious about it. And I wanted to bring awareness as to how they could help our planet. So they really like the series of One Strange Rock, because it really it's from the perspective of the 12 astronauts going into space and accumulating a little bit more than 1,000 days in space between all of them.
And the picture, it's just amazing. Ivan, do you worry about our planet?
Well, yes.
What's your thinking about?
Like, it's not something many people think of every day, but we should think of it more often, because we think that it's like it will affect us in the future. Like now we're in like the prevention stage for the future, but it's not like that. It's happening now. Like the rising sea levels are now. The coral is dying now.
Yes.
Right
Many
now,
animals are being extinct now. It's now, not in 20 years or 10 years.
But you know what? I think it was good. It is good to watch this program, this series, because we don't know much about it. Like, I think these researchers are trying to help us understand how it all like started, or like they're talking a lot about bacteria and how we can. Now we are on the topic of, or in the one of the episodes is like, how are we going to get to Mars? And that's probably the next planet.
Or like prevention from extinction from like a meteorite. Like if that happens, what are we gonna do? Like what happens if something like our species goes extinct for some like very like.
And they're talking about how we're going to evolve. According to. The conditions of the next planet we want to conquer. Like they were showing, like these guys from Indonesia, they practically grow in water, and the kids, they don't walk, they swim first. And how come they and they were showing how they were hunting. I mean, not hunting, but fishing. Actually, was their way of hunting for food. The guy would hold his breath for like 3 minutes underwater, and he would catch his fish
high pressure,
and then come back out, and that was just normal for him. So his body just adapted to the new conditions. So human bodies or humans, we just
can adapt,
right? So what is it going to happen to us? How are we going to adapt into the new place? They were also showing like the species that were still in Chernobyl, because of radiation and how much.
Don't spoil it that much.
Sorry,
I haven't seen
you
that.
haven't seen that part, but but you will see it, because I mean, I would watch it again. It's very, very, very interesting.
Well, the point is to
The point
suggest everybody to watch these two series in Netflix. One it's way more scientific. The other one
is
more like a
like a tour.
Yeah,
like
but
And
it's
it's
like more like
interesting.
investigation of a few years. Years of investigation of filming. Like how animals would grow from like being little babies to, like, this is just one example, into being, for example, the eagle. Now the eagle was just old enough to be led by the mother, to be left, and the mother leaves the little eagle, and then it starts to fun for himself and just try to fly, and but they were filming this little eagle for like a few years. So anyway, we invite everybody to
really
watch
great
that.
job.
Like something you can do. Maybe you can just like don't know how to help me. Just like it's not that you don't have to be an activist and go to the jungle and save the animals. You can just do it like every day. You can go to the recycling center in your city or town and just go there and throw your trash there. Be more conscious. Don't just like throw trash on the street.
Exactly. One of my projects I did with my students this past month was to start a compost. So they all, at least in Cancun, there are 30 more people that are doing composts in their homes. So they all showed me pictures of videos of their how they did it, like on the first day, and they were continuously taking pictures, and they showed me the result, like the final work of the project. So like Ivan says, we can do um, just in small ways, we can contribute to saving our planet and to make this place just better for us and to just last longer, because I think we would all like to stay here for some time, because it's pretty amazing. It's good. We have the beaches. It's the earth. We don't have any other place.
Like it's the earth. It's our home.
And it's our home. Yes, that's
It's where we're
that's
from.
the sense of belonging that we have.
Everything we know and love is here.
Yes. So I think it is time to close. This is the closing time, and this is time for our goodbyes.
And like recap of what we've talked about.
So far, we just covered Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, which we came to the conclusion that it's like it was gonna happen, and yeah, they're gonna rebuild it. It's not gonna be the worst thing in the world.
Exactly. Sure. And then we also talked about Salomon and his concert, and we thank him for being with us today.
Welcome, guys. Thank you.
And we hope he could join us some other time on another episode of this podcast. And then from that, we went on to the topic of Do Re Mi versus ABC.
And the last topic was.
And the last topic was the Earth, about everything, like about the Earth, the two series. And now we're just saying goodbye. So this has been a little bit longer than expected, but I hope you had a wonderful time listening to this. It's our first one.
We hope to listen to your comments. I mean, to actually read your comments, as we're going to post this podcast on some of the media we have. Like maybe we're going to start with the YouTube, so you can follow us on YouTube. Wait for it, and we'll wait for your comments. If you like it, give us a thumbs up, and give us suggestions for topics, because we really like to talk about just about anything, movies. We like to talk about life. We like to talk about our surroundings, and we especially like to talk about our friends, and in a good way, and with our friends. In this case, Salomon was here today with us, and again, we thank him for staying throughout the whole podcast. Again, my name is Rafael Sanchez, and our host and our host is
Ivan Sánchez.
Ivan Sánchez, and our guest today is
Salomon Zertuche.
So we thank you, and well, we say goodbye.
Goodbye. Please subscribe to our channel if you want to just see more and be updated. We're not hard pressing you about it, but just if you want to see more, we will be uploading more. So bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.